Why does ending polio matter?
Why does
ending polio matter?
What is happening in
Pakistan
and Afghanistan?
Is Nigeria
close to ending polio?
Why does
ending polio matter?
Why is ending polio
So urgent.
Why do outbreaks happen?
What is Rotary doing?
What is Rotary doing to end
Polio.
How can I help?
How can I help?
How can I help?
Thank you, Tom Wolfe, for that musical interlude. Good afternoon, Rotarians, friends, and guests. I'm Hannibal B. Johnson. It's my privilege as president of the Rotary Club of Tulsa to welcome you. Just sit back, relax, enjoy the fun, festivities, and fellowship that are the hallmarks of our weekly luncheons. On any given Wednesday at noon, just know that we'll be here with a special experience crafted just for you. All you have to do is engage and enjoy. Let's begin our program with Song and Pledge from Jerry Dillon, Invocation from Diane Peacock, and visitor introductions from DJ Morrill Ingram.
The year before Oklahoma became a state, Anchors Aweigh became the march song for the Naval Academy. Soon thereafter, the Navy seamen have used it. So on the screen will be a sing-along for those of you that don't know it. Anchors Aweigh, my boys. Away, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell of foreign shores, we take that break of day. Our last night ashore, bring to the shore. Until we meet once more, we're wishing happy home. Great, great. Wow. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, once again we bow our heads in full appreciation of the gift of life which we enjoy. We're excited to hear how our Tulsa name will be going forward in such a beneficial way. The USS Tulsa to be commissioned in 2019. Thank you for Admiral Jerry West and Commissioning Committee Co-Chair Steve Gherkin in being with us. May they clearly explain this ship and its role in the future naval history of our country. As we all come together as Rotarians today, let us ever be mindful of our Rotary challenge. Is it fair? Is it truthful? Does it benefit all? Let us take these words to heart, even as we greet and speak to one another. Then give us the grace to take these words forward in our daily lives, in positive action for our city, state, country, and in the world. We thank you for this day, and we thank you for this food. Amen.
Good afternoon and welcome to our club. We are so glad you're here with us today. This afternoon I'm going to introduce our guests and their host Rotarians, and if you'll please stand when I call your name so we can see where you're sitting. And then also let's please hold our applause until all the guests have been introduced. Tina Miller has her guest, Robert Papano. Hannibal Johnson has Brady Wynn. Tricia Kirkstra has Justin McLaughlin with the Tulsa Regional Chamber. Tom Klenda has Phil Paul, U.S. Pioneer, and Josh Bryan, U.S. Pioneer, over there. Mike Homan has Jenny Hammock, who I think is going to be introduced as a new member today with BKL Inc. Mike Homan also has Stacy Leffler with BKL Inc. Mike Homan also has Kim Reeve with BKL. I could have done that as a group. Rob Jones has Andrea Pemberton, Typros. And Norm Asbjornson has Gary Fields with Aon. Please welcome our guests today, and we hope that you'll come back. We have some visiting Rotarians today, and if we'll recognize them from the other clubs with a hearty "Hi, Rotarian," it'd be appreciated. From the Tulsa Rotaract Club, we have Wink Kupczynski. I hope I didn't. Hi, Wink. From Grove, we have Otis Winters, who's joining our club today. Hi, Otis. Sand Springs, we have Mike Baldridge. Hi, Mike. And from the Mission Viejo Rotary, we have Barbara Krogerman and Colonel Bill Krogerman. Hi, Bill and Barbara. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope to see you many times, and always consider joining our club. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, Diane, and DJ. Once again, welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, where Tulsa's finest business and community leaders come together to serve and to be the inspiration, both in our community and around the world. Let's thank all our meeting volunteers whose service makes our meetings run so smoothly each week. Thanks also to this week's meeting sponsors, Pendergraph Systems, Doug Padgett, and Associated Mortgage Corp., Chuck Wilson. Once again, we encourage you to give your fellow Rotarians the business, literally. So this week's Rotary inspiration is Linda Bradshaw. And I quote, "Linda Bradshaw has done so much that it's a challenge to isolate one area. However, when she asked me in her own special way to chair a literacy committee, of course I said yes. Celia Clinton Elementary School was in my heart. Then Linda asked Wanda Hartman to help me. Wanda did it all. I was her assistant. What a success story. The students were reading at 5th grade level at the end of our program. Linda knows people and how to inspire them. I'm honored to call her my mentor and friend, Terry Heritage." So Linda, Tina has a Rotary International themed Be the Inspiration lapel pin for you in recognition of your being this week's Rotary Inspiration. Let's hear a hand for Linda. Adopt a Class needs your help to provide teachers with gift cards to purchase supplies. And if you'd like to make a donation, please contact Tommy Lynn in the Rotary office. New member orientation, known as Yearling University, will be held Tuesday, August the 21st from 5:30 to 7 at the Synergy Building, 810 South Cincinnati. A reminder will be sent to all of our new members. Please join us on Thursday, August 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30 for social networking at the Old Vine Fresh Grill in Brookside. It's a great opportunity to invite a prospective member. For more information, contact Lynette Potter. Lise Delafuse, who's our Rotary Exchange student for this year, arrived Friday from France. She's enrolled at Bishop Kelly, and she's living with her host family. We look forward to introducing her to our club in the next couple of weeks. Now let's welcome Mike Homan and Becky Fields with new member introductions. Mike and Becky.
So, I've been asked to ask you to, again, please hold your applause until after Becky and I introduce Jenny and Otis to you. We'll give them a rowdy welcome after that. Jenny Hammock is a graduate of the Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, with a degree in architecture. She works for BKL Inc. and started with them in 2010. BKL is an architectural engineering firm with roots here in Tulsa dating back to 1946. They specialize in municipal and county architecture, structural and civil engineering design, and hydraulic design. They've designed a number of iconic structures here in the Tulsa area. And Jenny was instrumental in the design of the new Rogers County Courthouse and the Owasso City Hall remodel. Jenny has been a member of the National Council of Architectural Registration Boards since 2003 and she became a member of the American Institute of Architects earlier this year after becoming a licensed architect here in Oklahoma. She and her husband, Anthony, have been married almost 6 years, and they have 2 boys, Tony, who is 4, and Levi, who is 10 months. They love to spend their weekends camping or just hanging out on their 5-acre spread out in Coweta. When Jenny can find some free time, she likes to design invitations, and she's designing their future dream home. Welcome, Jenny.
Otis Winters has enjoyed a distinguished business career in the energy and financial services industries. He was a founding partner and chairman of the board of a national management consulting and restructuring firm. He is a nationally recognized expert on corporate governance and frequently advised clients on matters challenging the board of directors. He has served on the board of directors of more than 30 companies, including 10 listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But Otis is probably better known for his interest in golf. A trivia item for you is that Tiger Woods, Tom Watson, and Otis Winters all played on the Stanford golf team, but only one of them was on an NCAA championship team. And you're looking at him. Otis was on the pin setting committee for the Masters tournament for over 30 years at Augusta. Otis and his beautiful wife, Ann, have just moved back to Tulsa, and he is a former Rotary Club of Tulsa member, and we are enjoying his transfer from the Rotary Club of Grove. Welcome, Otis.
Thank you, Mike and Becky, and welcome new Rotarians. At this time, a couple of side mics. First, Jonathan Slay, Rotaract Social Event. Jonathan.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here again today. We have an exciting Rotaract Social coming up. Our annual social is hosted by Jake Dollarhide at the Docks Wine and Foods on August 28th. So that's the week after the other Old Vine one coming up. We encourage all of you to think about if you have a young coworker or a friend that you would love to have get involved in Rotaract. This is a great time to get them to meet some people. It's also a great time for you to come and meet some of our Rotaractors or potential Rotaractors. So please come. It's from 5:30 to 7:30, and we're going to have a great time. We will provide appetizers. We encourage you to come join us. Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan. Next up is Bob McKenzie with an update on the Ram Ride. Bob.
I have to have notes. I'm sorry. You'll figure that out one of these days. We had a great year in Ram this year, Race Across America. We were nearly 7 hours faster than last year, and we won first place in our division. Thank you. We came within 2/10 of setting the record for our division in speed across the country. Probably would have if we hadn't had a broken van that we had to leave 1/4 of our crew in Effingham, Illinois, and put 2 of our racers in one car, but if they hadn't had to make the hard changes, we might have broken that record. We also had 4 flats. We had a sandstorm in California. We had rain in Kansas and Maryland. The rain in Kansas, we outran for a long time, but it finally caught us. We were greeted by Rotarians several times in several states. We had one Rotarian who's president of Cycling to Serve for Rotary. He drove 4 hours from Albuquerque to Durango to say hi to us for 2 minutes and then drove 4 hours back home. So, I mean, that kind of commitment makes us, we're going again in 2019. Some of them met us with checks. When we got to the finish line, the Annapolis Club had met us last year and greeted us. This year, they met us with the other 2 clubs from the Annapolis area, and they gave us $4,000 for polio. So this year, we won the Lon Haldeman Award, which RAM, Race Across America, gives to the team that raises the most money, and we raised $1,025,000 for polio. And so I actually, you won the Lon Haldeman Award because you are the folks that gave the money, and we do appreciate it. But the biggest winners are the 1.8 million children that will be immunized against polio. So you just have to stay in that fight. We are going back in 2019. If you would like to consider being a sponsor for us and maybe get your name on our jersey, like some people in this room have their name on our jersey, please see me after the meeting. And finally, I want to just say thank you to all of you for the encouragement and for the support you've given me these 7 years as I've been writing for polio. And when I started writing, we had still over 1,500 cases a year, and we have 13 cases this year. And so I appreciate you all very much. Thank you.
At this time, if you'll please turn your attention to the screens for a brief video. Bob has been a stalwart member and leader in our club for many years. Though he's moving from Tulsa, he's left an indelible imprint on all of us. So, Bob, you'll always have a home here at the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Thank you. It's now Sarge time, so let's welcome Daniel Gomez. We enjoyed having Michelle last time, but we missed you, Daniel.
Thanks, Hannibal. It's fun to be back. Wow, 3,000 miles, that's crazy. I started cycling about a year ago, and I broke 60 miles, and I thought I was king of the world, so thanks for hurting my ego there a little bit. So yeah, I missed it last week. I was doing some work, so I was told when I took this case that my trial was going to be in Miami. So I thought, that's great, you know, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna find some time. I'm gonna go to the beach. Do I look tanned? Do I look any more relaxed? Any beach? Well, I don't, because it turns out it was in Miami, Oklahoma, which is I found out it's actually a pretty great town. Is anybody here from Miami? Anybody been? Well, there's some great stuff there, but one of the most interesting things I learned was that people there actually call it Miami, and I was always told that that's not true. What do you think, Hannibal? What do you call it?
I thought it was Miami.
That's what I always thought, but you know, you go to the restaurants, I went to the hotel, they kept calling it Miami, so I'm still going to defer to the weatherman, because he still calls it Miami, so that's what I'm going to go with. But thanks, Michelle, for filling in. Hopefully, I'll be able to do this as often as possible. So, a couple finds this week. Tom Clinda, $100. This is how he broke it down. $55 for 5 grandchildren under 5 years of age, and $45 for hopefully 4 to 5 more. And just so you know, Tom, I've been on the other end of those conversations. It's a little awkward, but, you know, go for it. Daniel Regan gave $50, and he's wishing a happy birthday to Stephanie Cameron, who was featured last time I was up here. This is a picture. I believe she just came back from a big vacation in, was it Canada? So there's a picture. So happy birthday to Stephanie, and thanks, Daniel, for the donation. Karen Keith was busy in the news this week, or actually last week. So here's a quote about the summer reading program. Here's Karen Keith. She's quoted as saying that Wikipedia is her best friends to help find more about the characters. I do that with superhero movies because my daughter likes them and I don't understand them, so I go to Wikipedia. So Karen, you and I share that, although your cause is a little more nobler than mine. I also found that Karen was quoted as part of the new Iron Gate facility. If nobody knows about this, it's a great facility that's going up. Karen is said to have played a really integral part of getting it built on county land. So thanks, Karen. Finally, I was told that Tina Miller's birthday was August 5th. So happy birthday, Tina. I'm not going to make our esteemed Tina pay any money, but if anybody wants to make a donation in her honor, I will take it. I'll be right here, or you can call Tommy Lynn. Happy birthday, Tina.
Great.
And as always, sarge@rotarytulsa.com. There's my phone number right there. Give me a call. Let's raise some money, and thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. Our vocational minute today is from Monette and Associates with Ed Monette. I always want to say Monet, but...
You're welcome to, Hannibal.
Okay.
Miami, Monet, Monette. That's
Okay.
right. Thank you. I'll be brief so we can hear about our great raft race entry here in just a minute. So, I am an independent insurance agent for 30 years, focusing primarily on health insurance benefits for small employers. That leads into dental insurance, vision insurance, disability life, and all that. Also, we help our clients and advise them when it comes to individual insurance and Medicare issues. We take care of everything from soup to nuts. We help enrollment, select the plans, do the enrollment meetings, but more importantly, we work with the employees of your companies to make sure they take full advantage of the benefit plans that you have spent so much money putting in place. The good news is I don't cost you anything. The rates are the same whether you use a broker or work directly with the insurance company. So if we can be of service to you, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And now it's time for our Rotarian of the Day. John Stava, upon receiving a BA in economics, entered the Air Force in 1966. He left active duty in 1970 at the end of his tour of duty as a forward air controller in the Vietnam War. Mr. Stava moved to Tulsa in 1970 and focused on construction and real estate investing while also serving as a pilot in the Oklahoma Air National Guard. He retired from the Oklahoma Air National Guard with 30 years of service as a lieutenant colonel. He is also recently retired from Stava Building Corporation, a company he founded in 1988. He joined our club in 1990. He's a Paul Harris Fellow, Club Foundation Fellow, and a Tulsa Rotary Foundation major donor. John Stava and his wife of 53 years have 3 children and 7 grandchildren living in Tulsa and Denver. Please help me welcome John Stava.
Actually, I thought I joined the Rotary Club in 1988, but I slipped a couple years, I guess. Listen, it's my pleasure to introduce these 2 gentlemen to you who are going to fill in all the blanks about the USS Tulsa, Steve Gherkin and Jerry West. Let me first introduce Rear Admiral Jerry West. Jerry retired from the United States Naval Reserve in 1905 as a Rear Admiral. He went to, in his earlier part of the career, he received a degree from OU, Ed. Also went on to optometry school in Memphis, Tennessee, was called to active duty in 1972 and spent 4 years on active duty. When he was released from active duty, he joined the Naval Reserve and concluded his career 33 years later in 2005. Dr. Rear Admiral West continued in optometry practice here in Tulsa. His final assignment was in Washington, D.C. His final assignment was the Deputy Chief, this is hard to get on a business card, Deputy Chief to the Surgeon General for Reserve Affairs at the Bureau of Medicine and Surgery. Yeah, that's pretty heavy to carry, isn't it? Yes. And Steve Gherkin is also a doctor, Steve Gherkin, in dentistry. He's authored 3 books. He considers himself an author at this point in time and numerous articles. He's written The Hidden History of Tulsa, which you can, of course, purchase on Amazon. Gherkin is a retired general dentist and served 7 years in the Navy Reserves and served on active duty as a dentist at White Sands Missile Range, which is a terrible place for a dentist to have to go, I would think. His father, which is an interesting fact, his father was a petty officer in World War II and made 3 beach landings in the Pacific region with the Marines, including the Philippines and Okinawa. And we appreciate that very much, sir. The other interesting thing about Dr. Gherkin is he is also a wine enthusiast and is a professor of wine education at the Tulsa, or at OSU, or has been at least, and they never did teach that where I went to school. Although I really have kind of kept up with it. But Steve has several sommelier certifications and is a writer for articles in international publication called, and I can't pronounce this, Gastronome, and retired from 36 years in dentistry. So these 2 gentlemen are going to fill in the blanks, and I'm sure there will be several blanks after you see this. We're going to watch a video next, and then they will come up and take Q&A and make some additional comments. If you'll go ahead and run the video.
Welcome to a presentation about Tulsa's latest namesake ship. The Littoral Combat Ship, the LCS, is a bold departure from traditional Navy shipbuilding programs. In the late 1990s, the U.S. Navy determined the next naval battle space would be shallow coastal waters, facing a variety of dangers like missile-firing fast attack craft, small subs and sea mines, and land and air-fired anti-ship missiles. Navy brass knew they needed a fast, highly maneuverable street fighter with James Bond-type capabilities. They wanted a corvette, and they got it, calling the intimidating water warrior an LCS. An LCS is Littoral Combat Ship, which means that the ship is littoral or close-to-shore ship. The LCS-16, the future USS Tulsa, will draft only 14 feet. Its 4 turbines produce a jet-like whine rather than the combustion engine noise of traditional ships. The turbines, 2 diesel and 2 gas-powered, push the 418-foot-long trimaran to a top speed of 54 miles an hour, and the ship boasts a 4,900-mile range. The Navy required the speedy, stealth-like LCS to be able to transport an assault team overseas, provide a flight deck and hangar for 2 helicopters, and a stern hatch to load mission modules as well as launch boats, small subs, and other assault vehicles. In a matter of hours, the reconfigurable mission bay of an LCS can plug and play a variety of modules, thus allowing it to change its primary function to fit a particular Navy operation. The LCS is a baseline ship with limited onboard assets. It is a bare-bones computer that actively gathers surveillance, reconnaissance, and intelligence information. Her Star Wars-appearing bridge hosts a small crew of the Navy's finest who use advanced computers to control unmanned surface vessels and minesweepers that find and destroy various types of mine styles. Additionally, the crew conducts surface and anti-submarine warfare. The versatile LCS has proven to be effective in combating small attack boats and participates in counter-drug and piracy patrols. A potent arsenal of 24 radar-guided Hellfire missiles provides standoff firepower to defend against swarming fast-attack craft. An over-the-horizon, longer-range missile is scheduled to be part of the LCS service warfare package that will be fired from a hatch on the bow's deck. The onboard state-of-the-art electronic warfare systems controls a 57mm bow gun and a Fire Scout drone. 4 50 caliber guns add considerable protection. Construction of an LCS takes 3 years, with important traditions celebrated along the way. In January of 2016, the USS Tulsa sponsor, former Tulsa Mayor Kathy Taylor, welded her initials on the keel of the half-completed ship. The launch and christening are set for the summer and fall of 2016, while the commissioning occurs after extensive field trials and is expected in 2018. The impressive, tradition-laden commissioning ceremonies are spread over 3 days and include 5 events. The expenses for the commissioning events are the responsibility of the Tulsa Committee. At $430 million, an LCS is considered a bargain. The mission packages or modules can add several $100 million to the manufacturer's suggested retail price. 4 entry-level LCS can be built for the cost of 1 destroyer that runs nearly $2 billion. Pictured here, the USS Coronado rolls out of its construction hangar headed for its launch into the waters outside Mobile, Alabama. The radar tower and other external features are placed dockside. The first production run includes 24 LCS with the 12 Independence-class trimarans constructed by Austal USA in Mobile. The remaining 12 are the frigate-shaped Freedom class produced in Wisconsin. Our LCS will be Tulsa's 3rd namesake ship, coming nearly a century after the first USS Tulsa, a coal-fired gunboat that spent 5 years patrolling the coast of Central America before heading to Manila and on to Hong Kong and Shanghai. The first USS Tulsa was one of the last Navy ships with a backup propulsion system that consisted of 2 masts for sails. The USS Tulsa, PG-22, a gunboat commissioned in December 1923, served during World War II and received 2 battle stars. She was decommissioned in March 1946, several years after being renamed the USS Tacloban. The second USS Tulsa, CA-129, was to be a cruiser. However, with the surrender of the Japanese in 1945, the order for the second USS Tulsa was canceled and the ship was not constructed. When asked by the Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, in the summer of 2015 to be the sponsor of the LCS version of the USS Tulsa, former Mayor Kathy Taylor agreed. She heads the 10 action teams of community volunteers that constitute the commissioning committee. The USS Tulsa sponsor and committee have a commitment to organize and fund the 5 commissioning ceremonies. The action team's tasks include a milieu of responsibilities from community outreach to veteran relations to hosting. After the crew is announced in the spring of 2016, Tulsa will host the ship's commanding officers several times. Tulsa also has a multi-decade commitment to the crew. The crew of an LCS has a structure that's different from other Navy ships. 3 crews of 40 rotate on and off every 4 months, either transporting to another LCS or going ashore to learn current LCS upgrades. Until our ship is decommissioned, that is, for the life of the ship, Tulsa Committee must provide sustainable support for the crew's medical, welfare, and recreation fund. Our ship will look like this trimaran LCS. Enjoy a clip of the sea trials of the first trimaran, the USS Independence. The commissioning of the USS Tulsa is an exciting community-based operation available to military veterans and civilians alike. With so many opportunities to participate, Action Team leaders are ready to welcome you aboard. Visit our website and Facebook page where you can watch action videos and monitor the progress of your city's ship. Then share the excitement about the LCS-16 with friends.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Gherkin. Well, I enjoyed having people say hello, like you did. And I would want you to know that my father is a card-carrying Rotarian from the chapter in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. So he says hi. His name is Jim, so hi, Jim. Thank you very much. He will be pleased beyond belief. And thank you for letting us present here the USS Tulsa. It's quite an opportunity to have a namesake ship. We've been involved with it, a lot of us, for 3 years. It's been a privilege and a patriotic kind of journey. It's interesting what it kind of stirs in you. To see the ship, watch it be built down in Mobile, to walk underneath this ship that's suspended, it really looks like a Star Wars sort of ship, especially from underneath. It's quite a thing. I want you to know just several things. One is that we do have a website, ussstulsa.org, and on the website you will have the ability to link to the Navy that has a lot of videos about the ship itself. We also, if you want to contact us for any reason, if you want to become part of our newsletter list, or even make a donation, because we're responsible for the funding of the 5 commissioning events. That would be ducky. That's a nautical term. So on the website, there is a contact button, and that will take you to the email side of things, and you can just let us know. Also back here by the AV folks, there are some sheets if you want to sign up and tell us your physical address. One of the things that may appeal to you is attending the commissioning ceremonies. It's really quite a production, and that will be in the first quarter of 2019. We thought it might be 18, but that's the way things go. So, so if you would like to receive invitations to the commissioning, it's important that we have your physical address, your landline address, because the Navy sends those to your home. They don't do it via email, but feel free to sign up there or just contact us with the contact button on our website. Also, we have merchandise, don't we, Michelle? Yes. Tulsa Historical Society is a great asset to Tulsa, we all know that, and they have sponsored us in a number of ways with meetings, free meeting halls, and they are selling our hats, which are amazingly beautiful. You must have one. T-shirts, you must have one of those, and coffee mugs, everybody needs a couple of those. And so I'd encourage you to be aware of those pesky Christmas stocking stuffer gifts. So what do? Well, you go to Tulsa Historical Society with the Michelle Places people and you support the USS Tulsa. That's what I would do. So that's really what I wanted you to know. We have a website, ussTulsa.org. We would urge you to contact us if you'd like more information or would like to help in some way, and that we have merchandise at Tulsa Historical Society. One of the great things about being in an organization like this is the people that you meet and the relationships that you make. This experience has been the same for me. And Jerry West, a retired Rear Admiral, not many times you get to meet a person of that distinction, but he's just a regular guy. He is a great Navy man, and I wish that he would say just a couple of things to you. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon. What a great crowd you have. I'm impressed with the attendance, and from what Hannibal tells me, this is normal. That's very impressive that you have this kind of support with an organization like this. We've been, as a committee, we've been working on this for the last couple of years. We were fortunate to be able to have a crew visit last September. I don't know if you may have seen something about it in the paper or have crossed paths with them, but it was a great experience. We had 7 crew members come and spend about 5 days in Tulsa. And I think they really discovered what Tulsa is all about. I think we gave them a good show. Mike Wallace, who's the author of Route 66 fame, and showed him the path there. We visited the museums, Philbrook and Gilcrease. We hosted a veterans luncheon so they could meet other, mostly Navy, but I actually let a few other services in for that as well. Got to have our friends, that's right. But I think they enjoyed meeting the cadre of retired and drilling reserve Navy people that are in the area, and that was done at the Woody Guthrie Center. It's a great experience for them. So those are the kind of things that they'll remember and go back and tell their other crew members. As it turned out, Tulsa was playing the Naval Academy that weekend, and so they didn't realize when they first made the arrangements. So we had to twist the arm of whoever their funder is to let them stay an extra couple of days, and they were able to stay for the game, which Navy won, and I think that was a highlight of their trip, being able to see their team in action. So that's a great experience, and that's one of the things that we use the money that we raise through the commissioning committee is to do these sorts of crew visits. We try to do one on an annual basis and bring different people in. Those of you that are familiar with the military, you know your COs, skippers of a ship, they kind of rotate about every other year. So you're going to constantly have different people in. And so it's a great opportunity to keep them aware of what Tulsa is all about and get our name out to them as the namesake for their ship. I don't know if Steve mentioned this, but the commissioning will be in San Francisco. So anyone interested in taking a trip to San Francisco, that's a great opportunity to do it. And sometime in the spring, early winter, such. So any questions you may have? Are we ready for questions? Sir.
After the commissioning, how long will it be till it's deployed? You can say where it go.
The ship is going to be stationed in San Diego, and it will be primarily doing minesweeping in the Pacific. It's going to be part of the Pacific area of responsibility, and it's already done its trials. It's been in the water now for a year, and it'll sail over to San Francisco through the Panama Canal. So if it makes it that far, then she'll get commissioned. Yeah. I make that comment, but it's kind of the truth, because those of you that may follow this, some of the earliest of the LCSs had some engine problems, and I think 3 of the first 6 that were produced ended up back in dry dock getting that fixed. Now, the good news is Tulsa wasn't one of those, and I have not seen anything in the Navy news for the past year about any of the ships having that problem. So apparently got whatever glitch it was fixed, but that's kind of embarrassing, when you're commissioned, you can't even get home. That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. So, any other questions, sir?
Yes, sir. Do you know how many personnel?
Yeah, about 65. And if they have a helicopter on board, then there's a crew of 15 to support that helicopter, the pilots and the crew. So about 80 when you have the crew aboard. So.
Why did they design in 2 distinct fuel systems? Do you have an idea about why that came about?
That's really a little beyond my expertise, to tell you the truth. It's I can tell you about eyeballs, but I really can't tell you about engines. So it's I think one of the issues they had was the longevity for the ship, and with this type of engine system, it can go like 40 days without being refueled, and a lot of the other smaller ships like that have to be refueled on a regular basis. So I think that probably has as much to do with it as anything. Yes, sir.
How did you and Dr. Gherkin get involved in this?
Well, I met Kathy Taylor the day of that she was announced as the sponsor, and actually one of the Naval Reserve officers that I've mentored over the years was a good friend of hers. So she hooked us together, and she asked me to be part of the commissioning committee as a result. Steve's.
I believe I have Michelle Place to thank for this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, no more said then. leave it at that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure you can't answer the question based on what you just said. But the car you're driving speeds up to 55, jet engines. Do you have any idea what the horsepower or the thrust is of each engine?
No. You're way out of my league now. That's for sure. That's right. That's right. So, yes, sir.
What was the community's ongoing responsibility to the crew? I heard that mentioned in the video.
Well, as I discussed or mentioned earlier, the crew visits and NWR. We will supply money on an annual basis to the Morale, Recreation, and Welfare Fund for this specific crew, and that, we're probably talking $50,000 a year that we're going to need to be plugging in, and that's just a wild guess. So But we're talking about doing this for the life of the ship, which could be 20 or 25 years. So it's not just, we're not just raising money for the next year, we're raising it for the next 2 decades, as it were. So we try to maintain enough funding, and we'll keep raising money as we can, for sure. Yes, ma'am. No. Well, it's part of a aircraft carrier battle group, and the one downside of the LCS is it's not steel, but it's made of aluminum. Now it's a thick aluminum, but it needs a protector, and so when they bring it in close to shore, there are going to be other ships that will be monitoring what's going on out in the battle space that they call it, and they'll be an initial protector. It does have the ability to fire against small ships, and as it mentioned, they're going to be adding an over-the-horizon anti-ship missile system to it. But its primary function is to get in close to the surface. Our specific Tulsa is going to be doing mine sweeping, so they want to get in close to the shoreline so that when the crews come in to advance onto the shore, they're not going to have mine issues, won't be damaging the other ships. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would think that a ship like that would be perfect to use in keeping someplace like the Strait of Hormuz open. Are there ships that have already been deployed and being upgraded?
There are going to be 3 components, three LCS teams. One team is going to be doing just that, being a protectorate against the small speed ships. The second will be doing anti-submarine warfare. They'll be monitoring submarines as part of the larger group. And then the third is going to be the mine sweeping that the USS Tulsa has been assigned to. So yes, that's one of the things that they want to do with it, is to use that as a protectorate against the small boats that Iran and other of our friends bring into us, for sure.
And we can launch small anti-craft, can it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So. Talk about the medical department. Well, there'll be a corpsman. That's it. They have independent duty corpsmen who are not as well trained as a PA, let's say, but is not far from it. I mean, they're certainly have trained with a licensed practical nurse, let's say, and so they can do a lot of triage and giving shots and medications and diagnoses, and they're always in radio communication with a larger ship that has a medical doctor on board if they need consultation. So they're not on their own. The submariners are the ones that are on their own, because they go down for weeks at a time underwater, and their corpsman's kind of stuck. If you can't figure out what's wrong with it, they're in big trouble. So, yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying then. Yeah, yeah. You were just asking about, I'm talking about you. That's right. You know, I've been retired for 13 years. There's a lot's happened in the last 13 years everywhere. So I don't know for fact, but I'm sure that capability does exist on board now. Sure, sure. Sure. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, I'm about to get the hook here, so I would like to echo what Steve said. If you're interested in potentially going to the commissioning ceremony, please give us your name and address so that we can get an invitation to you. We would appreciate any donations, large or small. You know, the small ones add up after a period of time. So any donations you might have, we would appreciate that as well, because, like I said, this is going to be a permanent and ongoing project. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for a great presentation. Please know that you're welcome here at any time. A book recognizing today's program will be presented to our partner in education school, which is Celia Clinton Elementary School, and the book is, appropriately, Navy, An Illustrated History. Upcoming programs, August the 15th, Teresa Knox of Church Studio will be our guest speaker that week, which is next week. And August 22nd, Mike Patterson with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation will be our speaker. Thank you for being here, and let's not lose sight of that grand Rotary International vision. Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And please note that our new members and their sponsors will be at the guest table area in the foyer as you exit. Take a moment to personally welcome Jennifer Hammock and Otis Winters to our Rotary Club family. We are adjourned.